scene as always. Wow, where are you going? You don't know. It's me, Seren, back with another car video. This is gonna be a really quick video. I was driving home and I meant to record it, and I'm almost home and I just remembered that I wanted to record this video. I had like totally forgot. So yeah, but it's gonna be quick anyway. So Joe Jackson recently died. Joe Jackson was, the patriarch of the Jackson family, which obviously, included the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson, arguably greatest entertainer of all time, the king of pop, Janet Jackson, the blueprint basically for every girl that's out right now. So Joe Jackson died. I don't know how many of you know the background of the Jacksons or have seen the Jackson movie, but how do I put this? Joe Jackson would say that he was hard on his children, that he saw greatness in them, and so he pushed them. Many of us felt like he abused them. It was also depicted in the movie as abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. Like he would beat them. They weren't allowed to call him dad. They had to call him Joe or sir or mister, or, he was like, he was not very loving with them, or, he was just very, I'll say aggressive. I'll use the word aggressive, that he was very aggressive with them. And I was reading an article. So my friend, when he passed, I believe it was yesterday, today's Thursday. I don't know if this video is going to go up today, Thursday, or tomorrow, Friday, but I believe he passed yesterday or possibly the day before. My friend sent me a link, and I was reading the link, and I said to my friend, I was like, wow, it's like they're trying to clean up his legacy, I guess you could say, because I feel like in the black community, it's well known that Joe Jackson was an abuser, and that he abused those kids, the Jacksons. But now it seems like people are maybe taking a bit more of an easier stance on it, of a more favorable stance on it, to say that no, well, he didn't abuse them, or that he was hard on them, that he was tough on them, that he pushed them because he saw greatness in them, which was even the way that it was framed in this article that I was reading. He was a notoriously, journalism words, he was a notoriously hard taskmaster, tough on the children, and because he saw greatness in them, and this and that. And it also made me think about Beyonce, who's also a great entertainer, obviously, could be considered arguably one of the best entertainers of all time, who also, her father was notorious. Now, I've never read about her father putting hands on her or anything like that, but Beyonce has said herself, my father would make me get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and go run in a park and go make me work out. And they pushed Beyonce to be in these pageants and enter in these talent shows, and from a very young age, because they did see greatness in her, they did see the talent. So, but it just got me to thinking about how do we feel about that? How do we feel about that? Is that appropriate? Maybe appropriate is not absolutely the right word, but I'm just going to use that word for right now. Is that appropriate? Is that okay? Is that cool? Is that something that we're fine with? Because it's true. It's yes. It's on the one hand, yes, we did get Michael Jackson, and I love Michael Jackson. I'm a huge, the world's biggest, I actually went to Target. So I'm I stopped and I'm sitting in the Target parking lot because I just remembered I have to pick some stuff up. But it's I'm the biggest Michael Jackson fan in the world. I'm a super huge Michael Jackson stan. I don't know, Michael Jackson was a huge part of my life in my young years. I don't know how I would have been different in terms of personality and everything else if there had been no Michael Jackson, or if there had been no Janet Jackson, or if there had been no Jackson 5. Beyonce, huge superstar, changed the culture, of the pop culture landscape. But at the same time, it's Beyonce has struggled with depression. Beyonce, she has struggled And she has directly linked some of her struggles, especially in terms of her mental health, to being pushed, you know, so hard as a child, right? And being pushed to be perfect, and being pushed in these certain types of ways to the point where perhaps it wasn't healthy. And many of the Jackson siblings as adults have also said, you know, that they have mixed feelings about their childhood, or even their lack of a childhood. You know, as we all know, Michael Jackson had a lot of like stunted emotional growth because he never had a childhood, because his whole childhood was spent, you know, entertaining and performing and being, you know, a part of this massive group with his brothers, and then later on being basically the, you know, the king of pop as soon as he became an adult, and getting to the point where he basically had an extended childhood as an adult, had this, you know, obsession with Peter Pan and being a child and never growing up, and Neverland Ranch and all that. So it's just like, is it, so and I was actually talking to my friend about this, and my friend was like, well, these are parents, be it Joe Jackson, be it Matthew Knowles, you know, these are parents that felt like they did what they had to do because they saw greatness in their children. They wanted their children to be great. And my friend actually said, you know, I wish that I had a parent to push me, that would have pushed me in that way, or, you know, that would have seen greatness in me and pushed me to be great, because that is also an example of the love and the belief and the support of your parents in a certain type of way, like having parents that love you and support you and believe in your talent to the point where they're going to push you so hard, which I can kind of, like, I see that point as well. Like, I see that point as well. Like, I see that point as well. But at the same time, it's like, we fuck up kids. We fuck up kids. And then they grow into fucked up adults that have all these, like, emotional problems. And, like, yeah, okay, maybe in, like, in the example of, like, Michael Jackson and Beyonce, like, yeah, maybe that made for some great art. I mean, and even, like, Janet, too. Janet had to have her whole, like, breakout with The Velvet Rope, which is, like, probably one of the best fucking albums of all time. Like, which had one of what might have been one of the best tours of all time. Literally, like, the blueprint by which all the girls follow when they come out as good girls and then they want to, like, turn into bad girls. Like, Rihanna followed it, fucking Britney followed it, Christina followed it, Miley bitch ass, racist ass followed it. Like, but that was also something that came out of trauma, and the trauma that Janet was going through. And, like, a lot of Beyonce's work, even, like, Lemonade, had to, like, go back to, like, dealing with some of the issues that she had with her father. And even going back before that with, like, some of the stuff she started addressing with her self-titled album about, like, the pressure to be perfect and to perform and to maintain a certain weight and to maintain a certain look and to push and to push and to push and to be this robot, and, like, and again, like, struggling with depression and what that did to her. Now, maybe Beyonce might be like, well, yeah, but it's worth it. Like, it's worth it because I was great and I am talented and I was gifted with this talent, and now I'm super rich and successful and able to do whatever I want. I mean, and probably any one of us would trade places with Beyonce, right? But at the same time, it's like, how do we feel about that? I know I keep using the word appropriate. Like, is it appropriate? But just, like, how do we feel? Like, is that okay? Is the alternative to that? What is the alternative to that? Because, like I said, my friend was like, I feel like it's, you know, it's an example of parents, like, pushing their kids because they see greatness in them. And my friend was like, even if Joe Jackson, like, did possibly cross the line from time to time, it ultimately ended up working out in the long run because, like, look at his children. Like, any one of us would want to trade places with his children. And, like, two of his children, Michael and Janet, like, literally went on to become, like, two of the biggest, best, literally, entertainers of all time. So, like, was he wrong? Like, was Joe Jackson, like, wrong, or was he correct? And was that acted out of love and dedication and belief in his children? And I was just like, I'm gonna do a video about this because I think this is a really interesting topic and I want to know what people think. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm not a Joe Jackson fan. I think he abused the kids and fucked them up emotionally, and that's not cool. But the kids were great, weren't they? Let me know what you guys think. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.